So Rabbi Mordechai here with you, and we're just going through the book of Shemos, and we're just like really like diving into it and building and these types of things. And so one of the ideas that, really touched me like growing up in my life was, I had the pleasure and the merit of working in the entertainment business. And I know the entertainment business doesn't have the best representation or the best reputation, for that matter. And a lot of things that go on in the business are not very like kosher and holy. But, for me, it was a place where I could be creative. It's a thing, when you grow up in Los Angeles and you see so many different success stories and so many people come there with dreams and manifest those dreams, it becomes like a very normal part of your life. And one of the things that I've noticed is that some of the most talented people I met weren't necessarily the people who became successful, right? A lot of the people who became successful that I was, had the pleasure of being around, big name type people, I want to name drop, but the point is saying the people that I knew became successful were people that had this tremendous love of sharing their gift, right? That was their thing. Their whole thing was like, they really loved sharing their gift. I remember I told the story like years ago, long time ago. I used to work for a beverage company, and I was a vice president there. And we used to sponsor the American Music Awards. And so we were sponsored there and we would do different stuff backstage and we like have signage, different places and whatnot. And I remember I was there one year and Christina Aguilera, who's like a famous singer, whatever, she was there and she was doing a sound check. This is like, you come and check the microphone to make sure the sound and everything works before you go and perform. So she came and actually did the sound check, and I so happened to be there. Anyways, long story short, there were all the people that were there working, putting together the chairs and cleaning things up and organizing, putting up signs. So she started singing, Christina Aguilera, right? And she was singing and she just went on and on, and all the people there that were working stopped and sat there and watched her perform, and they were all just like captivated. She had the whole room captivated. And I was able to see like how she loved sharing that gift with other people, even if it was a group of people that weren't getting paid, that were just working there. She put on a show for them and she felt compelled to do that. And I saw that's why she's there. And I had the same type of experiences, like seeing Beyonce and other people that I've seen over the years. They just had this dynamic. And even athletes, like you're around great athletes, you see that they love playing the game. They love being a great athlete. They love having fans. They love that responsibility of these types of things. But they have this dynamic of that extra component, right? One of my favorite stories is Stephen Jobs, right? Stephen Jobs, it's known that like his whole thing was, when he started Apple, like was creating this revolution and he was going to take over and he was going to usher in, this information age, and they were going to take down the IBMs and the old way of thinking and whatever. But the point is saying it wasn't just about making a computer and making some money out of it, right? Like he really, the computer was a mechanism for something greater, right? And the same thing about, the people I mentioned that, have certain talents and certain gifts, it wasn't just that I'm a great singer, I know how to sing, I know how to do. No, but I love how this gift can make someone else feel. And I want to be a part of that. And I want to experience that and these types of things, right? So with that being said, that's the idea, connected to, this week's Parsha, when we learn about this concept of Moshe's father and mother coming back together, right? The holy sources, the Zohar, the holy sources say that Moshe's father received a message, like a heavenly message, like a divine inspiration. Like sometimes like you just get this overwhelming message that you should do this, or you should move somewhere, or you shouldn't go to this place, and you should go to that place, or you should take this class with, and not take this class, or this is the right person to date, or this is a person you should marry, whatever it is. We have these extreme permissions, and sometimes it's even a higher level, it's even clear, like a voice. And this is what Moshe's father had. It's called a bas kol. He had a heavenly voice that came to him and said, remarried this lady, his Moshe's mother. And we could go into the greatness of Moshe's father and mother, because both of them were humongous people in what the role that they played in the Jewish people at this time. But I'm not going into that because I want to focus on one thing. The fact that they were married, and then the Midrashim tell us that they were married and then they remarried, right? And when they remarried is when Moshe came. But the reason why they remarried, as we're learning from the Holy Zohar in these texts, is that the Moshe's father had a holy, a divine voice came to him and told him that he needed to remarry his mother. But this was the point. He told him to remarry his mother because the redemption was near, and they were going to have a child that brought the Geula with them, right? Was going to brought the Geula, for the whole nation. That the redemption for the whole nation was going to come through this child that they brought into the world. So when he went back and he married his mother, it wasn't just because he misses her and he loves her, and all those things are important. But the Torah is making us hone in on something very specific, that they were married and they were moving forward with a mission greater than just the marriage itself, right? When he went back to her and he said, oh, you know what, please marry me, I'm gonna start family with you, we're gonna bring the Geula, our mitzvot, and the thing that we're gonna do is gonna bring the redemption. The redemption is there and we're gonna be a part of that. And we have to be together because the love that we could share together will usher in the Geula, will usher in the redemption for all of humanity. Through our love, goodness for all of humanity will come into this world. That's what Moshe's father was telling his wife, Moshe's mother. That's what he was doing. And so when we think about our lives and our relationships, how are we using them? How are we using this relationship? Like, being married, right? So is the marriage for the sake of, like the secular society that I come from, the secular society that says, oh, you know what? That car you get is going to determine your happiness. That degree that you have, that's going to determine your happiness. Your status in society is going to determine your happiness. Those clothes and the brands that you're wearing are going to determine your happiness. The neighborhood, everything that you have is going to determine your access. Everything outside of you, right? And so when it comes to marriage is about me, right? Like, what can you do for me? Like, I put together a shidduch resume and I go down a list and to see how well you fit into that. If you fit into that very well, then you're good for me, right? And if you're good for me, for sure, I'm going to be good for you, assuming I'm going to meet the same, right? But it's all about me. And then you grow in that, the first year of marriage, you grow past that stage of saying like, hey, you know what? It's not just about me. It's another person. And this is how this other person functions, right? Because the harmony and the continuity and things being copacetic and working together, that is much more pleasure than it is for me doing the things that I want alone, right? So that's the next level of marriage. The first level of marriage is it's about me. The second level, if you reach that level is about, say, the other person, right? In a family, which is a very holy place. Over here, we're learning something very specific. We're learning that if I have the mindset of bringing the redemption, that could be a part of my thinking, my makshava, my kavana, can be the idea of bringing the geula, to show love, to be able to heal the sick, to redeem the dead, to be a part of the massive amount of love and light that God is bringing into this world. Being a part of that, being a vessel for that, being a conduit for that, for all of humanity, that's the concept. That's the concept. So one level is, okay, I'm a selfish person. I'm married and I'm selfish. It's all about me. Let's do this. Let's do this. Next level is, you know what? Selfishness, that's not going to get me anywhere. And it's much more fun and much more pleasure when I am connected to the other person. That requires me to share, it requires me to grow, requires me to learn. Amazing, holy. The Shekhinah dwells there. But to bring the life and experience the level of connection that Moshe Rabbeinu brought in for his parents and his family and his community requires people that are completely focused on bringing the redemption for all of humanity. And that means this is the basis of the relationship. The relationship is, we're here, yes, we're going to share. Yes, we're going to grow. Yes, we want to be better people. But we're going to go even a step further, that we're going to say that we're going to use our lives as a mechanism to bring in redemption, not as a form of self-sacrifice. And you're going to have this tough life and it's going to be difficult because you're doing it for the sake of humanity. No, it's the opposite. You could experience high levels of luxury and relaxation because the better you are at sharing and the better you are at giving. So we're not saying some self-deprecative mindset of like, oh, I'm doing it for the cause and nothing else matters and I got to do. No, the opposite. Your quality of life is affecting other people. This is the mitzvah. It's not just, oh, because two people were together in a holy way, that's the solution. No, it's the shalom that they have after that. And the shalom they have after the next day and the next morning. And they continue on that peace. That is the dynamic of where the full process of the revealment of the life force of the creator comes into a person's soul, into a couple's house, into couples' living process, to the point, the Zohar says, because Moshe's mom and dad were so focused on bringing this geula and being this connection and being the source and chariot for this, is that the divine presence rests above their bed. And when they were connected in marital relations, that the Shekhinah was a part of it with them. Like the Shekhinah was a partner with this. And through this, Moshe came out part of the Shekhinah. The Shekhinah was a part of Moshe Rabbeinu. And that's what the Torah says, the Midrash in the Torah, the Zohar says that Moshe came out with a great light. This great light is connecting us to the fact that he already came with a bris milah. He was already in a perfected state. Moshe came into the world with a perfected state because his parents had the kavana of thinking about bringing in a soul that was going to bring the redemption for all of humanity. And as they did that, that's what they did. So the point to us is saying whether you're an athlete, some guys play basketball and some guys play because they enjoy the game and they love entertaining people when they play. That's what a Michael Jordan was, right? He respected people who came to the games and paid money to watch him play. And so he gave everything he had for them. And even guys like Amari Stoudemire and other friends that I've had the merit of being in contact with playing NBA. These guys love the game itself. It was an art form for them. And the same thing as musicians and singers and different people who also have these amazing gifts. The ones who are great at it are the ones who love sharing it with other people. And so in the same way over here, what makes our lives great is when we're not just living just for the sake of living, but when we're living for the sake of redeeming the world. Understanding the importance that we have in this world, that every mitzvah that I do, everything that I give over, everything that happens, this dynamic allows me to be a part of the system of correction. And I'll tell you this, me and my path to Judaism, to the Torah, it wasn't about, like community per se. It wasn't about, believing in God or believing in one God or all these different things. I already did that, growing up. Thank God, Baruch Hashem, I had parents that were not, believing in Avodah Zarah and any of these types of things. I had people that were very holy and very modest and wanting to have good ethics and good morals. And that's why the Torah was very, familiar to me. But at the same time, what made me want to go and take that extra step was the fact that I wanted to be a part of something greater than what I was presented with in the world. And being part of something greater as a Jew, as a person who when they wake up in the morning, their entire life is bringing light to the world. When I say Modi Ani in the morning, right? Or if I'm doing Netilat Yadayim, whatever it is, those things are there, and I'm instantly plugging into the creative system of the reality that I'm in, the real creative system, the real reality, not the reality that the secular human system gave us, but the system that comes from the divine force, the force of Ribono Shalom, the Avestor. That's the force that I want to be a part of, that system, because that's where all the pleasure and all the happiness and all the miracles and all the blessings exist in that space. So with that, this was my path. The path of living for something greater. This is what made me want to join and be in a position to even share what I'm sharing with you right now. This is the process of how Moshe came into the world, with two people having a mindset of something greater than just themselves, or even just being positive in a marriage. This is something that people went even further, even higher, and said, we want to bring the geula. And we see it all the time in the secular world, in secular society. The people who are great, the people who accomplish great things, have a greater motivation than just making money or just doing the task at hand. They take the other person into account. So with that being said, may we all see a bigger picture. May we understand the greatness of Moshe Rabbeinu and understand that how Hashem brought his parents together, gave them the right thoughts and the right mindset that he could be able to come into this world, right? And see how everything is connected. And so as we go on this adventure of Moshe Rabbeinu in this Parsha, let's understand who he is and how he came into the world. And let's understand through that lesson that we have to live life greater than what we've been presented with to achieve our purpose of why we came in this world to be in with. Continue having a great week.